Shripad Rajam Sharanam Prapadhe. We continue with the second chapter of the Shripad Shrivallabh Charitramrita. This describes the meeting of Shankar Bhat with an enlightened soul. Shankar Bhat continued his journey. He was surprised that all his comforts during his journey were looked after without him asking for anything. On reaching the Kadam forest, a highly enlightened yogi, Siddha Yogendra, blessed him. "May you be blessed with the holy glimpse of Shripad Shrivallabh," said he. Shankar Bhat then took the blessings of a highly powerful Shivling which was said to be constructed, consecrated and worshipped by Lord Indra. On his way, Shankar Bhat could not find any Brahmin's house and so accepted fruits and honey from the Girijan community. But before he could consume the fruits, he was attacked by so many crows that he was severely injured on the head. Bleeding profusely, Shankar Bhat took shelter under an Audumbar tree. Now the devotees of Lord Dattatreya know that Audumbar, which is supposed to be a type of fig tree, is a tree which is the abode of Lord Dattatreya, that is, he resides beneath each and every Audumbar tree, and so it's worshipped as a holy tree. Continuing further with our narration, Shankar Bhat's body emitted a foul smell which attracted the snakes in a nearby anthill. He was attacked now by the snakes too. Seeing his pitiable state, some washermen who were passing by took him to Vallabh Das, a local doctor of the cobbler community. Vallabh Das was a great devotee of Lord Dattatreya. Realizing why Shankar Bhat had to face this trauma, he said, "The crows and snakes were highly egoistic scholars in their previous birth. On consuming your blood, they have progressed in their spiritual path. The Almighty does not discriminate His devotees on the basis of race, caste, religion, community, rich, poor, masculine or feminine. His only criteria is a love and unflinching faith in Him. To achieve His grace through Shripad Shrivallabh, one must surrender his ego." Shankar Bhat was moved by the knowledge imparted to him. Bowing humbly to Vallabh Das, he continued his journey towards Chidambaram. On his way, he stopped at a village named Vichitrapur. This village was true to its name. It was Vichitra or strange. The king of this village had a son who was dumb. The king attributed the reason for his son's inability to speak to a particular sacrificial offering that the Brahmins of that village had performed. He thus detested the Brahmins and used to organize a procession of Brahmins on donkeys. He would then distribute Rajgira vegetable. Rajgira is amaranth. He would distribute this Rajgira vegetable to the Brahmins. He even ordered a Brahmin to write a volume on the language of the dumb. The Brahmins of this village were thus living in pitiable conditions. The king's soldiers happened to see Shankar Bhat in their village and asked him if he was a Brahmin. On receiving an answer in the affirmative, they took him to meet the king. The king asked him three strange or absurd questions. The first question was, "If that much is that, how much is this?" Shankar Bhat answered, "This much is this." The king was pleasantly surprised and appreciated the knowledge of Shankar Bhat. The king then began to recount the events of his previous birth as follows. The king was a Brahmin in his previous birth. He would have the Rajgira or the amaranth vegetable growing in abundance at his house. He would generously donate this vegetable to all. His Brahmin colleagues would take him along with them to offer religious services at many houses, but would offer him a meager portion of the dakshina or the offering which is given to Brahmins for the ritualistic services received by them. But they would spare no chance to freely take the Rajgira vegetable grown at his house. Now, in this birth, the same poor Brahmin was born a king. What a turn of fate! The Brahmins who cheated him of his dakshina in his previous birth were born in the same village when he was the king. The king was now receiving several times what he donated in his previous life. But he was not able to understand the returns of his donation of the Rajgira vegetable. To this query, Shankar Bhat said, "O noble king, however much you donate Rajgira vegetable, you will receive multiples of the same vegetable. In the present situation that you are, donation of gold, precious stones, jewels, etc. benefits you as a king." Now the second question was shown by sign language. The king showed 2 fingers, which Shankar Bhatt interpreted as, "Have you come alone or is someone accompanying you?" So he gestured back 1 finger. The king then showed 3 fingers. Shankar Bhatt thought the king wants to know if he was a devotee of Lord Dattatreya, who is a 3-headed deity. Devotion is not something to be exhibited publicly, thought he, and so gestured a closed fist to the king. Then the royal teacher offered him some sweetmeats, which Shankar Bhatt politely refused, nodding his head and pointing to the rice flakes that he had, indicating that they were tastier than the royal sweets. He even offered them to the royal teacher for taste. The royal teacher then declared to the king, "Shankar Bhatt is indeed a learned scholar, even in the language of sign communication." The royal master then put forth his 3rd question. He asked Shankar Bhatt to explain some stanzas in the Chamak. Shankar Bhatt prayed to Lord Shripad and explained all the stanzas effectively as follows. Eka chame means 1. Tisra chame means if you add 3 to 1, it equals to 4, whose square root is 2. Pancha chame means to the above obtained 4. If you add 5, you obtain 9, whose square root is 3. Sapta chame means to the above obtained 9. If you add 7, you get 16, whose square root is 4. Navachame means to the above obtained 16. If you add 9, you get 25, whose square root is 5. For the listeners, there is a small request. Whatever has been mentioned in the earlier 2-3 sentences should be written out on a paper so that the readers as well as the listeners get an advantage of what the Chamak is all about. Now the king and his people were astounded by Shankar Bhatt's recitation. This was a secret of the molecular composition of the universe, and Maharshi Kanad was a learned scholar at this subject. The submolecular particles and the constituents were the basis of formation of various elements of metals in the universe. Shankar Bhatt thus left Vichitrapur safely because of the satisfactory answers that he gave the king. Chapter 2 concludes here, and it is believed that the readers of the chapter and the listeners too benefit by attaining peace of mind. May Lord Shripad bless us all. Shripad Rajam Sharanam Prapadhe.